Hello, hello guys. What's up? Um, Here with another video that I actually wanted to do a long time ago, but never had the time actually to go over this. So, um, on Jatin's channel a long time ago, Dave did a video about tier lists of different nations on 1v1 Sahara, and I will say that after playing a lot of 1v1 Sahara over the past 2 or 3 years. I will say that playing on random, playing the tournaments, it's yeah, just playing all of that. I realized that it's not like I disagree or agree on Dave's choices on the nations. It's just I want to give my opinion and explain why I'm gonna put nations on different tiers of his video. So with no further ado, let's get into it. So I'm just gonna open. Actually, no, it's fine. So Americans, um, for me, I think, yeah, let's actually open it. So I'm just gonna open Jatin's channel really fast, so we can, so I can like explain his series compared to mine, right? All right, so here. So he chooses Americans on C tier, right? So Americans, as many people will say in 1v1 Sahara at least, and teams are really good, but in 1v1 Sahara, like, are they even like worse to actually peaking or playing? So before actually watching like Jatin, because I feel like there's different players that actually did change the meta a little bit. So before Jatin actually like, you know, showing everyone that Americans was playable on 1v1 Sahara, I would literally say that the C tier for me with Americans is totally like fine because they really don't get anything OP to like a late game, right? I mean, yeah, they get the free wonder, they get resources from the units they spam. They get a free scholar and a free patriot like upgrade. So, early game, you'd be like, oh, well, I can get a free death spot, save resources. I can get a free senate, so I can, skip mill, whatever. But even then, they're so fucking slow. Like, they don't get any, like, they're just like a generic nation. Like, they're just so slow that any other nation that it's, like, above them or has, like, a really good, like, insane star or they get, like, a really good H2 or H3 rush potential, it's just gonna destroy them. Because even I see people like, yeah, well, I can get the hanging gardens and just like boom, super easy. But no, you cannot do that because Americans don't get any. Like, I think if you go hanging gardens with Americans, it will be like a waste because they don't get any eco bonus. Only with the army they spam. So no. But the thing is, like, after Jatin actually play this, Americans nation, he like invented that you could skip Civic 2, which is like already like slowing a nation. Now they're Civic 2 slowing even more the Americans. Instead of going Civic 2, you can just literally get FC, which is a Forbidden City. And this will be actually insane because this FC will work as your second city, or I mean, as your third city, my bad. And this will also make it where you're getting plus 50 wood and plus 50 food, which is really good actually because this will literally make your eco 150 eco or plus with no problem. Especially by this point of the game, by H3, you will have somewhat of some units. So this will also like make your eco a bit better. And then when you get the FC, it's literally just a matter of fucking surviving, right? Because the FC is a large city with more HP, right? And medieval siege is just not capable of killing it. So it's really easy to turtle. Also, another issue is that if you play Americans, you cannot build like towards your opponent because then it makes it easier to rush. You have to build backwards or sideways, right? So saying this means that you won't die as easy as before on H3, and they also get on H4. That's when they become OP. So you can literally turtle, get H4, and then you'll be like GG pretty much because you will have free monarch, which means faster armor than your opponent, and this also means that you will have that spare knowledge for your middle 4 upgrade, which also means you will get the second extra armor. So you will pretty much just win at this point. So I will say that Americans for sure are definitely. I'll say that if you have decent rares, what of good ruins, and your opponent fucks up, I will say that yeah, you can still have them on C tier, but you can also debate of having them on B tier. But I still believe that it depends on the player that plays them. But I will put them in B tier actually, because I still believe in the right hands they're really broken. Okay, so Aztecs is another one of those nations that let's see what they've put on it. They've has it on B tier, which I think it's actually not. I Yeah, it kind of makes sense. So Aztecs is another one of those nations that people like they're scared of because like Aztecs, CC Aztecs, you're like, bro, this guy is gonna raid me, but it's also like, yeah, you're Aztecs player, but you're gonna be like nothing special on H2 or H3. Like it's just like any generic nation. You don't have any. Yeah, like early game you will get that free meal plus the free raiding unit, the auto whatever you call it, which it's actually a huge deal, right? But normally with the 15 plunder, you won't like. It's so hard to actually get kills with the auto or an Hoplite or an Archer, because normally these units are pretty much mainly for raiding. Just being like annoying, forcing a barracks, maybe catching some bills, scouting, by themselves, maybe stealing ruins. Like it's more like a raiding unit. It's not really to actually kill, because killing an H1 with this unit is kind of hard. Yes, you can get you know, you can play it and maybe you will get 2 kills, but you will never get to like 5 or 6 kills. It's like impossible. It's so hard, right? But it's still annoying because you're scouting. You have like an extra scout. You're forcing opponent to build barracks and mill, while you're pretty much just getting ruins and just working on your boom. So it's totally fine. But then in H2, they become again kind of useless because you get despot, you get raiding units. In H2 you can still make it work because people won't have defenses as fast as if as the game goes longer. So you can raid, get plus 30 to plunder, and do damage. But you know if you play against Greeks or French or these like nations that are like broken as fuck in H2 as well, Romans maybe even, it just won't do any sense to actually like. It's just gonna be a super hard game. So yeah, they have some definitely counters to it. Um, and then again, they're easy to kill in H2, especially in H3. They're so easy to fucking kill. So, seriously, they're so shit in H3, so they're so easy to actually counter and kill. So I will say that even when they get to H4, there's still ways to counter it, right? Because when they get to H4, yeah, they get the plus 60 plunder. They can get dragoons raised, they get the free arquebusers on the spamming barracks, but still, it's not such a big deal because like yeah, you get free resources from raiding, but what if you actually play against someone that has, let's say, units on their cities, like like Jatin does with the Lycav? The dragoon can become like useless pretty much. And if you play against nations that are really good calf, the arquebusers units are just gonna get destroyed. Like it's pretty much it. Like for example, there's a bunch of replays where you're Aztecs against Indians, and the Indians on H4, those elephants have so much HP that you won't get any plunder. So you're pretty much just wasting your kind of like your Aztec power, right? But they're definitely really good to play. Like I actually do enjoy them playing 1v1 Sahara. So I will still put them in B tier because they're really good, but they still have some. There's still ways to counter it. That are not that like hard, I guess you could say. But they're really good. Like you can do a lot of stuff with them. So Bantu, they've put them on S tier, which I don't agree, but I will say why. This is actually 100% I don't agree. So Bantu, it's actually one of those nations people are like really scared of, really scared of, because they have like fucking insane fast units to get the middle, pretty much guaranteed on each one. They will normally get more wins than you because of their running bills, right? But yeah, I mean, yeah, you have all of this, but then what? Like then what will you get? There's nothing else. Like after each one, okay, so I'm gonna say why. The extra caravan on each one, it's not even that good. Like yeah, you will get one caravan before your opponent, but that caravan gathering is so bad because you don't have any buildings. So you can literally get that Wells rare, and you will get more than the second caravan for the early game at least. Then as well, they also get, I guess you could say that because they have the running villagers, they're easy to defend. They're also easier to do a militia rush on H2, right? H3 even. And that also means that you will get your resources income a bit faster because, if your build is running, you will get to the, I don't know, let's say to the mountain or to the trees like faster, right? I mean, it's not like a huge deal, but it still adds up. Um, but like they don't have anything like after that. Like I will say that if you're playing Bantu, like your best bet is probably H1 rating, and then literally just fucking rush, like rush H2, H3. Like their booming potential is not even that good because they don't get any bonuses, right? Um, I would say that if I was playing Bantu, my best strategy will be like when you H to H3, skip Civic 2 and just rush, or even H2 rush, because you will having those militia that are like super fast is a big deal. And the fact that you don't have to expend food on the Civic 2 because you already have the Sur City is also a big deal actually, a really big deal. But then again, they're so easy to counter if you have like French or like Romans or like even like, let's say, let me see, one of the nations, they get also countered by the Greeks. They can also get countered by the Persians. Like there's just so many counters to it because early game they're good, but then they just become super weak. Or they become weaker and weaker pretty much. Yeah, they're a really good nation, but I still believe they're overrated for sure. I don't think they're that good. I mean, they're good, but they're not as good as people think. So I will actually put this between A tier or B tier, but we will put them for A tier for now. But you can make an argument of even going down, but we'll see. Um, British. So British is actually a really shit nation. Like I'll even put them on D rank because they're so useless. Like even Jatin plays them and he's so bad. Like yeah, you can do like early games. You can go for the free archer, like like science one mill one right with the free archer. But if you do this, it's just like if it doesn't work, you're just fucked because you're slowing more a slow nation. um, you get the free like super cheap taxation. You get the commerce cap, like plus commerce cap. You get the free archer upgrades. So all of this is really good if you think about it, but only for Russian really. Like like British after like British. The problem with British is that after H3 they're kind of fucked because the kind of like the transition from H4 to H5 is really shit because it will take some time and probably by then you'll be fucking dead, right? Um, H2 rush potential is really good, of course, because they get the free upgrade archers with the best archers in the game. They get the nice commerce cap, which means that you don't even have to go commerce 2 as fast. Um, and you will get a free unit, I mean a free archer from another barrack that you will build most probably, right? So the rush potential is really good. Um, H3 potential is also really good. It's not bad. Um, but then again, H4 is useless, so you will fucking die pretty much. It's so hard to play them because they're so slow. Like if you play against a really fast nation, they will just get raped. Um, if you play against a nation that is maybe your pace, you can still make it work because your defense is really good. Like you can defend an H4, yeah, you can do it, but it's gonna be super hard. But I mean, you can still kind of make it work, but it's really hard. Normally, if an opponent rushes an H2 or H3 against British, they will get destroyed. So if they do this, you probably win the game, even if you guys get to H4. So I will say that they're definitely not of my favorites. They get kind of like okay or better, like they get good until H5, which is like super late. Like if you don't do anything before that, you're fucked. Or you can get fucked before that, pretty much. The taxation is also really nice. You can get to plus for 200 walls income, no problem. But too late in the game. So for me, they're D tier 100%. Like they're just fucking useless. I mean, I don't like them. The Chinese is actually a funny nation because they puts them on like D rank, and for me they're actually not that bad. And in 1v1 Sahara, like getting the middle like super fast is such a big deal, right? Because that means that you're securing trees, and you're also securing the fact that it's gonna be harder to raid you because you're in a straight line and you have the fucking trees protecting you, right? And the Chinese are so good at this because the second city they get is already trees guaranteed in the middle, unless your opponent goes for Civic 2. Um, they also get you can spam villagers, which is I think a really good eco bonus. I don't know why people or why Dave says that it's not. I think it's really good. Spamming merchants, um, bills and caravans like instantly. I think it's a really OP. It's actually really OP because you can literally get your diamonds merchant or relics merchant or whatever merchant when you need it in the right time. You know, because I see a lot of people that like they have silver but they don't have the merchant in time, so they have to H without the discount. But with Chinese, this is not a fucking problem. So it's just I think it's a great like thing to have. They also get the unique unit, the Fire Lancer, which is I think it's not that bad. I mean, it's not the best unit, but it's not that bad. They're weaker than the regular Arquebusier, but they have better range, so you can actually be like annoying and like do like guerrilla tactics with your main army. Um, they also get the large city, which is I think also not a bad thing. I mean, it's not like insane, but it's not a bad thing. You secure map, and you're pretty much saying that you will never get a rush in H2. Um, what else? They get the free herbal line, which means that you will be getting your units will heal faster with the garrison, and you will get them also to build faster, right? So if you have cotton, this means that you can literally spam a huge army with one barrack and one stable, which is a big deal, I think. Probably you will never have a game where you only have one barracks and one stable. I think that's stupid as fuck, but I mean, you can still make it work, but it's not optimal. Um, so the issue with Chinese, I think, is that they don't have. It's the same issue I think that has Bantu, that has Aztecs, Americans. Is that their wealth income is fucking terrible. Like, if you don't have any, this is the issue of a lot of these nations that, for example, Dave has in their lower tiers, where they don't get any wealth income. So this is fucking terrible because if you don't have any wealth rates, for you to get that wealth income to 150 is gonna take some time. So you get buildings, so you get your markets going, you know, your caravans working properly, taxation, blah 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 blah. So it's gonna be really hard. Like I have played games where I'm in H5 and I'm getting plus 160 with Chinese. That's not that good for H5 to be honest. Um, like at this point, a lot of these nations, like normally you'll be booming with them. You know, normally you don't play despot with Chinese, or I mean you can still do it. Because their rush potential is actually not that bad because their H3 Fire Lancers are like the best fucking unit in the game in H3, and then they get you can spam villager, so this means you can spam militia, right? So you have a fucking insane militia rush potential. It's not that bad, but definitely I will never. It's so weird for someone to go despot with Chinese because they're like kind of slow, I guess, in the start. So this means that normally you will be getting raided before you actually, you know, H2 or are able to do something. So normally Senate with them is better for booming. Really, use boom. I think booming is way better for them. You skill H4, H5, and also something I forgot to mention is that they get cheaper science discounts or science prices because they get like a discount. So this also means that you can go science 2 and H1, and this one literally won't affect you or make you slower. Actually, I think it's actually one of the cases where with Chinese, it's also really safe. I think the safest you can do this is Spanish or Chinese, really. Like I think you're always guaranteed plus 600 wins with them. There's no way you don't get more than that or less than that. Um, right? So yeah, that's really good. So yeah, I think Chinese, if you have wealth rares, they can be really OP. Like I have beaten people that are like good at the game, that are like playing tier A nations, S tier nations, and they still can lose to Chinese. It's gonna be a hard game indeed, but it's 100% winnable. So I say they're C tier B tier, like, but I will put them on C tier because there's way better nations, of course, but they're not that bad. Um, so Dutch is literally straightforward S tier. Like the guy, like I don't know why Dates doesn't put them on S tier. They're fucking broken. free fucking. I think they're the nation that gets the most like on H1 pretty much for nothing. They get two merchants. They get the market. So you really have a plus 10 wealth encounter the game. The two merchants that if you have I don't know like insane rares, such a OP thing to have. And the thing about also these merchants is that they can also raid, right? I mean the caravans. So this means that if you use them for raiding, you can stop the second city. You can raid the wood, whatever. You're gonna be forcing a barracks, right? Middle one and barracks. So this means that you literally are raiding with the super cheap unit without even forcing a like without even building a barracks or building a middle one. So it's fucking broken. Also, the funny thing is that they also gather resources by themselves. So if you don't like spend a resource, it will start gathering by itself. So you'll be like getting, like you can be a fucking AI. You'll be getting resources for literally not doing anything. So yeah, they're really broken. Like it's just straightforward. They're just broken. I'll say that the best way to kill them. Oh yeah, and also this is the funny thing also is that if you have like a raiding nation, like let's say Mongols, it will be harder for you to raid simply because of the fact that their caravans are like fucking tanks, and their merchants are like little tanks pretty much. Like they're so hard to kill. And they also fire back, so those merchants can actually kill archers or calf archers by themselves. So yeah, it's freaking broken. So I would say Dutch is 100% S tier. The only way I think you can beat them is if you have like a B tier, like no, lower than B tier. I don't think you can win, or it's gonna be really hard. I mean, the thing is like you can win with any of the nations. It just becomes harder. But I think that for against Dutch is winnable. You're winnable with like Japs or stuff like that, where they're not maybe the best, but they're also really good. Like they're a solid nation. But you also have to need to have some nice rares, I say, and then some decent ruins, even the same, because it's just they're so fast. It's just hard. Okay, so S tier 100%. Egyptians is actually funny because I will say that they're between B tier or A tier. Let's see what Dave puts them on actually. He puts them on B tier. Yeah, so they're kind of like either they're like A tier, like low A tier or high B tier. The fact that you can gather wells from the farms and have extra farms plus free granary is really good on your food eco. Like you'll have insane food eco. Your wells will never be like bad. They also get the best horse archers in the game. I think this is like the only nation that counters elephants properly with the Mamelukes that actually counter the elephants. Like two Mamelukes can kill one elephant. Um, they also get the cheaper wonders, which is actually a big deal because if you play against a nation that rushes you in H3, you can spam the red fort, which is I was actually looking at the prices like a couple weeks ago because normally people don't understand that with Egyptians you can go for the red fort and this won't even like be like a loss in resources because you will get free healing, insane red fort plus free armor, right? So it will after all pretty much sum up because the fort costs us 300 metal and 100 wells, and the red fort cost is 300 metal, 300 wells. But looking at the military upgrades, the first one is 65 well 65 food. The second one is 165, 165. Pretty much adds up. Like you're actually like saving like maybe 10 wells, right? But the thing is like you get it instantly, right? So it's totally worth it. So you can get the red 4 and it will counter everything. Like you can get the red 4, you can literally have no army if you place it in the right spot. Fucking insane. You will H4 while he's fucking sieging you with a trebuchet and a huge army. You just kill him. Um, this nation is, I think, really versatile. You can go Despot, you can go Senate. Like, you don't have to really stick with one. You can do whatever, really. I think, personally, I think any of them works properly, dude. Like, if you're going Despot, it's fine, because you can spam army. If you go Senate, it's totally fine as well, because you can move properly with the granary. Um, yeah, so I think it's just it's a solid sip. Because of their cavalry calf line, and because they have wells from the beginning. Now it's worth mentioning that they're maybe A tier, B tier. I'll say that they're like they can be like I said high B tier or even low A tier, but I will put it here for now. French A tier, dude. Fucking insane nation. So French is actually a funny nation because you'll be like, oh, they're slow, blah 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 blah. But dude, you can never kill a fucking French army 1-on-1. Never. Like, there's no way. Unless you have fucking elephants or a way bigger army, or spies, or maybe bad micro by the French player, but it's impossible, dude. It's so hard. Like, it's this nation can counter like Lakota properly. They can counter Indians properly. You know, it's really good. Like, I mean, you can have them on low A tier or high B tier. Like, any of them work. And this is the reason why this nation, it's insane, because they get the free healing, they get the extra wood cam, or the extra wood carder, my bad, and they get the lumber mill upgrades for free. And this is a big deal because in a map where there's no wood, pretty much, let's say that your opponent starts with a +3, you're gonna start with a +4, which is actually a huge deal. Like, you're getting extra resources for like a couple, maybe like 1 minute, maybe even like 50 seconds of wood, which is a big deal in this map. And the fact that you can have Despot healing, you can pretty much always engage, and your opponent will like run away. So yeah, they have a really solid army. Like, their special unit is like the calf, the Chevalier. It's a bit stronger and faster than the regular generic Cataphract. What else? And yeah, it's like it's just really good, man. It's really good. You can spam those markets really fast without like actually wasting wood on, stables and stuff. So it's just a really solid nation. The only issue they have is that they don't get any wells again. Like, it's one of those nations that don't get any wells income. So maybe I will actually put them a bit here. They don't get any wells income. So if you don't have any wells rares, they're kind of shit. But other than that, I think they're really solid. Really solid nation. Yeah, for B tier makes sense. The Germans. So the Germans is probably another B tier nation, man. Like, it's just what it is. I mean, this nation is like, it has really good eco, like really insane eco. But other than that, what else do they have? They don't have any military like unit that is good. They don't get any wealth resources. So I mean, you can go Senate, you can go Despot, but they're strong. Like, the power of this nation is pretty much booming. For H4 with 200 eco literally, which is realistic to get with them. Or rushing, you can also rush with them. But I mean, I do not recommend it. I mean, the thing is, like, they get so much metal that you can sell it, so you will get scholars, or you can get resources, or you can get a forward like faster than your opponent, right? But the thing is that they don't have any wealth income, so I think it's a huge issue. But if they have good wealth rares or good knowledge rares, I think they're really fucking stacked. Really good nation. I think it's a solid nation. Um, the Greeks is definitely A tier, dude. There's no, there's no way this fucking nation is a B tier nation. The fact that you can fucking rate with that calf that is pretty much unstoppable, like it runs everywhere. You can literally be 5 HP and you can still run away from a light calf, which is insane, or from the Bantu units. Um, they don't get any eco bonus, of course. They don't get anything pretty much. Yeah, cheaper H was, yeah, a cheaper H is actually not bad. And also having super cheap universities, it's not bad either. It's actually funny because if you play standards in Sahara, you can literally make you can literally H to H4 before 12 minutes even. Like, if you have good rares. So your opponent will be like killing you maybe, but you will have like H4 army if you have good timing. But yeah, it's insane. Like, it's a really good nation. It's a really solid nation. But again, they don't have eco. They don't have wealth rare, like wealth income. But I think if you're able to do damage with their with their heavy horses rating, eventually you will get to a good eco, like 150 eco with no problem. With okay wealth income, 120 maybe. So I think they're a really solid sip. I just like them. I really like them. Like, they're just really good for everything, pretty much. For anything that is aggressive related, they're really fucking good. Um, and also there's a trick where in H1, if you want to save food resources, you can wait for your opponent to H before you, and then you will just H after him, and you will be saving like a couple, like maybe like 20 food or something, without slowing yourself down. I won't. I never do this. I normally prefer aging. Getting that metal income before. But if you do this, it's still like okay. Like, it's not a big issue. Alright, so Inca is definitely S tier. Like, there's just no. Like, I'm just gonna say this. I don't think there's any nation that counters Inca other than the fucking Russians, dude. The only nation that I know for sure that counters Inca is fucking Russians. Like, yeah, you can have Iroquois with counterisms, but you have Bantu, you can have, you know, freaking Turks. But nations, it's kind of like a bit luck based in the sense that if you don't get the ruins, like for example, if you raid with Iroquois and Bantu, yeah, you rate them, but you have 450 ruins, and the other guy has 450 ruins or 400. It won't really matter. You're fucked, pretty much, because you already wasted so much on the early rates. That's no point. You're gonna be GG. Same with like Japanese, Turks. They can definitely do a really good rush potential, but even then, Incas is broken, dude. Like you can take a city and it doesn't really matter because you have so much wealth income that you will just replenish. I think that's the word. Pretty much, you're gonna remake your army, dude. So Inca is S tier. I think the only way I have beaten Inca, bro, it's literally territory victory. That's like the only way because they don't do. They always go Senate, like most of them. Normally you would play Despot if you're like you have a brain, but people normally go Senate because they're like, oh, I'm just gonna boom till H4 and just kill them. But by then you with the Russians you'll be just territory victorying with no issue. Um, Koreans you can maybe try, but the problem is that Koreans are get attrition, so you won't be able to counter the early rates. But yeah, I think it's an S tier nation. Like it's so hard to kill them. Like the thing is that they get their refunds and they get the insane wealth cap. It's just broken. It's just so broken because they get so much wealth that they will be spamming scholars early game, and while you're fucking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill him, he's already H4, so it's fucking pointless. Indians A tier, even S tier could be debatable. Like here it's fine. A tier, S tier. They're really weak early game. They're like kind of like because they're like those nations that they gotta kind of like as the game goes longer they become stronger pretty much because they have super cheap farms, super like everything is super cheap like in wood cost, which means that you'll be able to spend markets, farms. You're able to spend building trees, which means that you will get more wealth from your caravans, plus the 20% income, plus income from the caravans that are working with the Indians. This just makes them really OP. You can get 200 wealth cap, no problem. They get the free upgrades with the elephants, which is also a big deal because you can do really nice raids with them on H3. It's like a horse archer, it's like a horse archers in asteroids, pretty much. So it's really good. Um, and they also get them cheaper. So if you get a monarch in H4, fucking you can spam 5 elephants for like nothing, pretty much. And their eco is just insane. Like it's just a really solid nation, bro. Like only way to kill them probably is early game from H2, H3, H3. I think they're the weakest. And even then, it's not gonna be. It's the thing. Like it's gonna be hard to still win. There are those nations that can just turtle you, and it can work fine for them. It's pretty much about playing aggressive against them. But when the Indian player gets like an advantage, it's already over. Like it's too OP. Um, and they also the radius they can do on the city radius they have. It's really OP as well. Because this also means that you can secure a lot of like resources from one city. So like, normally, when you have like a wood camp, sometimes it will be like outside the circle of radius of your city, which means that you cannot place a woodcutter camp to actually get resources from it. But with Indians, this is not like this is no issue for them. So yeah, they're really good. Um, Iroquois is S tier, 100%. I don't know if it is the best nation. I don't think it's the best nation in Sahara, but it's still one of the top 5 nations for sure. Uh, so the fact you get a free scout is really OP. Their units have more HP, which means that they can literally fight against Aztecs or Bantu with no issue with the mill one approach. They're also harder to kill, of course. They get the free Senate, so this means that you will get the fastest despot possible in this game, which is a big deal, actually. Really big deal. Um, they also get the Aquarius on H5, which means that on H5, if you get to H5, you'll pretty much just win the game. Like, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing your opponent can do, really, against Aquarius on H5. There's just nothing. Another actually big deal with them is that they're in friendly territory. They're ambush. So if your opponent doesn't have an upgraded scout, pretty much you'll be like destroying his army every time he tries to raid or something. Because he will always take back bad engagements against you in your territory, which is how it is. Their eco bonus, they get the plus what is it, +2, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's +2 or +4, I cannot remember. On wood on foot income when you have wood carters. But I mean, it definitely adds up, but it's not like a big deal, like the Indian like boom approach, where they have the cheaper farms. But it's nice to have, of course. Um, they get really weak, I think, in H3. Like H2, they're good. H1, they're good. H4, they're good as well. H5, they're the best. But H3 is just so weak. Like, I think any nation, like the Romans, French, fucking, I don't know, Japs, even Germans, if you go that spot, like anything that goes H3 rush can kill Iroquois really easy, actually. Because their archers are really fucking awful. Like, the heavy archer is, I think, it's probably the worst unit, worst unit in H3. So it's so easy to kill it. And this is one of the things that Bantu has that is better than the Iroquois, is that if you play 1v1 like Iroquois against Bantu actually get the crossbows. So if you go for the approach I said earlier in the video where you skip Civic 2, you can 100% kill Iroquois with the crossbows and skipping the Civic 2. So yeah. So Iroquois is S tier, but H3 I'm saying they can definitely get killed. But again, it's really hard to get to H3 like in a good time with no eco damage, because if Iroquois plays smart, he'll be already doing so much damage to you in H2 that it'll be hard for you to be ready for this. Okay, so Japs B tier, A tier. It's like Japs is like a high B tier, low A tier. Like Japs is one of those nations that I think it used to be like the best nation, like the meta nation, like back in the days. I remember because I know that Cypher plays them a lot. Out of all players, plays Japs a lot. Um, and the thing about this is that the Japs is probably one of the top nations for eco in early game, because they get also cheaper farms, but they also get more food income from the farms. As the ages go on, they get cheaper military, which is also a big deal. So this means that with Despot, and even if you get luck and you get salt, pretty much this nation becomes a fucking S tier nation from the sudden, right? Because you're getting free army pretty much, and you have the eco to maintain this army, which is insane. But again, and water maps are also really good. Like I think Japs is one of the best nations in water maps as well, because they have cheaper like ships and they also produce faster. They produce faster, so they gather faster pretty much. But again, they don't have any wealth income. So if you don't have any wealth rares or knowledge rares, they're just gonna be slow as fuck like all the other B tier nations. It's just what it is. They don't get anything. But again, um, they have a really good H2 and H3 potential. So this if played perfectly or played good, you'll be able to take advantage of it, and you'll be killing your opponent on H4 or whatever. The only issue they have in H4 though, I'm just gonna mention, is that their unique unit, the samurai, is fucking terrible. Like I play with it so many times. The samurai is worse than the bushi, the elite bushi for sure, in every single way. So if you wanna like upgrade, you can upgrade. They will have more HP, of course. They're gonna be harder to kill, but the damage they're like doing to the other units is just terrible. So it's all about if you wanna actually upgrade them or not. Okay, so that's for Japs. Koreans C tier as well. They get so Koreans is, I think when they've put some here is because he doesn't know how to play them properly. I think because they actually have a really good like Momo plays them perfectly. I think Momo can make Koreans even a B tier nation, because there's three different ways you can play them. You can play them either the safest way is territory victory because of the border push, which is insane, and you're able to repair your building. So in H3 or H2, you're guaranteed not losing your city pretty much. Um, Free tower spam as well, so it's really easy to defend. The second way you can play them is a turtle strategy to H5, so you can get your Minutemen. And the other one, which is I think also a really good one, is that if you play like nations like Lakota and stuff, you can literally do an H2 rush with them, because they get the free militia, which I think if I'm not mistaken, well, I mean, in my opinion, Uh, the fastest H2 rate you can do with any nation is with Koreans because they get the free militia when you H, so that's pretty much the fastest H2 rate you can do. There's nothing faster than that. So that's really good because you can snipe merchants in the corners or unprotected. You can also use those militia and go to the carbon route and just like stop it for a little bit. It's just really annoying to play them like early H2, and they're really good like at it because they get all these upgrades. You know, the militia. You don't have to actually build a tower for it, so that means you'll be saving metal, which means that you can make an extra siege. And not to mention that the Korean siege is pretty much H3 trebuchets, you know, on damage at least. So yeah, the H3 rush potential is insane. Like you can have two siege, the city will go down like in no time. So literally, you can do the second siege and already start bringing all your militia to the front base, start like attacking. It's really good. The really good nation, I think, in this case. But the other thing is that they don't have any wealth rares again. They don't have any knowledge rares again. So if you don't have any of this, they're just like any other nation, you know. And also I forgot to say that the cities that you build, it's gonna give you free villagers. So this is also a really good eco bonus you can get for the early game, right? So yeah, so it's worth mentioning that you can go for Civic 2 with them in H1 if you don't wanna go for militia raids. It's not bad. Or you can also delete your temple early game and try to go for Science 2, which is you can do this, but it's not the safest nation to go. Well, that you can do this because if you don't actually get more ruins, you'll be pretty much GG. Okay, so Korean C tier for sure or low B tier. Dakota S tier, I think they're just really good nation. You know, they get everything perfectly. Um, they get pretty much free resources for your build, so they're more efficient. Pretty much free horse archer upgrades, which is a big deal actually, because you'll be able to when you get to H4, even H5, you'll pretty much be getting free upgrade on the dragoon line, pretty much. Which means that it's really annoying, to play against dragoons when you're just H4, to be honest. Um, you get the center guaranteed, so you will never be starving in wood or anything. And you can tower all the resources in the corners, which I think is a big deal. Because that means that your opponent will only get two resources, or two rare resources in his territory. So it's actually a big deal. Because imagine he has diamonds in the corner, it's yours, man. Like, it's just insane. Nation is OP, man. And their eco like boom is insane. They will get 200 eco with no problem. The only issue they have is like all the other nations, they don't get any wealth income. But you can sell resources and you'll be fine. You can even go for a Colossus later in the game if you have like if you're already winning. Um, so yeah, Maya C tier for sure. The boom potential is really good. I'll say. Um, you see, like Maya is actually funny because it can be either like C tier or they can be D tier, really. Like any of this. The thing is like I put them in C tier because I personally like them and I have beaten better nations with them. Uh, because normally the fact that they have cheaper like buildings on wood is really good. It's really safe to go with them. Like with Hugging Gardens, it's just really good with them. It's really safe. And also the fact that you can go for fast H5 like Koreans in a way, because your buildings are like tougher. So even the bombards, like even two bombards, will not like kill your city like fast enough. So you'll be able to get to H5 with no issue. Especially if even if you spam like one or two towers back of your city, it's gonna be like impossible to take it to like they get more bombards. So by then you will already be H5 if you play properly. So yeah, insane nation. Also the fact that if you play Bantu, Iroquois, or Aztecs, and they go for that meal one raid, it's gonna be fucking useless. Like if you get unlucky with your wood camp position where it's kind of far of your city or something like that, then in that case, it is possible for them to do damage. But other than that, it's fucking pointless because your city is gonna be firing arrows, so it's so easy to defend. It's just a good nation. Like it's not the best nation, but it's not a bad nation either. Like like I will never, like yeah, you can say that yeah, it could be the tier, but it also has benefits to it if you know how to play them. I say it's a really nice ship to play. Not that bad. Underrated by a lot of people, I think. Um, but yeah, not bad. Not the best, but not bad either. Mongols. Mongols is actually fucking funny because Mongols, I would say that they're S tier, but they can also be A tier, man. And the fact I say this is simply because yeah, they get the free horses, they get the free food income, blah blah blah, but they don't get any walls income. So the fact that yeah, you can have 10 horses, but if you don't do any damage with them, you're gonna be so fucked later in the game. But still, they get insane eco. The fact you can get free fucking horses is insane. Like, I think I beat Momo a couple times with Chinese actually, but I also lost a couple times with Chinese like with playing Chinese against him simply because of the fucking fact that he can get. I think it's 3 horse calf per stable that you build like in each floor or something like that. So he just becomes fucking like OP, a free army pretty much. And they have the eco to maintain it as well. You know. No, definitely is tier. Like it's just fucking it's a broken ass nation. It's winnable, definitely winnable. Like later in the game, but still it's a really solid nation. Probably one of the best. Top if I say like in top five, I would say they're like number five maybe. You know, but you know you can fight like Mongols with Indians. You know, like in the tier. You know, like you can be like, oh well, I can do this. Like send this one here, and then send one's here, or put them together. You know. But they're definitely like S tier or high A tier. You know, you can change them between them. Nubians, Nubians, bro. That's a good question because Nubians is like D rank could be D rank, but they're only D rank if you get marbles or something like that. That's really useless in the early game. But let's say you have diamonds or bisons or I don't know sugar early game. Well, then you can be like, oh, they can be low B tier or even high C tier. You know. I'm just gonna put them in C tier because I actually do like them. I think the fact that you can go Civic 2 with them, I think they're one of the safest nations to go Civic 2 in H1 because of the market manipulation. You will also get the merchants, you know, popping early game. If you have good rares, they're gonna be super fast. Their units are kind of dog shit. Like the archers are good for, I mean, archers are good against other archers, but you will only use them at defense pretty much. So they're pretty much either you can go Senate or Despot with them. Either is fine. Um, Markets are a bit cheaper. You know, it's not bad either. But I don't know, man. Like this is one of those nations that if you have good rares, you will win. If you have bad rares, you will just lose probably because they don't have anything special going for them. They have a really good H. Like I think they have the fastest H2 rush potential because of the market views. So you can get Despot and have a bunch of phalanx units already like by H2 like super fast. So they have a really good H2 rush potential. There's also like another way to play them where you can commerce one, science one, commerce one with one H, get mill two, skipping civic. If you have like a bison or something that will make your food income 100. It's just a fun nation to use. But it's definitely not insane. Like I think normally people that play Nubians, they feel like they're like safe, but normally you will always get destroyed. It's just like they're good, but only if they have rares. I'd say Nubians in 1v1 Sahara they're not as strong as in team games. In team games, I think they're probably even A or S tier if they have good rares. No issue. Um, but yeah, just for 1v1 Sahara, I think they're C tier. They're not bad either. They're solid sip. Probably best at Maja or Koreans or Chinese, I say. But they're still not at the point where you can be like, oh, this guys can be B tier. It's just not possible. Persians are A tier for sure. I agree on that. Um, Persians, I think they're just really solid, dude. They have elephants. Yeah, but a bit more expensive. The upgrades are more expensive as well. But still, they're elephants, dude. They get free taxation, which is really good. I think it's a big deal, having the free taxation. And then you get the pretty much super cheap, super cheap civics. Um, their heavy infantry is fucking terrible to like H4. After the Tertius are the second best heavy infantry in H4. The Immortals, so it's not bad either. Um, they get the free caravans, so early game it's really safe to go with them. It's really safe to go Civic 2 with them in H1 as well. Like Bantu, they're really similar to Bantu in that way. It's just a bit, I guess, worse, but you're getting free taxation, dude. So it's actually not as bad if you think about it. Um, you'll be getting more wells than the two caravans of the anti-player for sure. And yeah, they're just really good. They're definitely a or low S tier. Like it's just any of them. Oh, and you can also go mill one with them early game, like science one, civic one, mill one. It's a rating. I think the best combo is actually in H2. One of the best combos you can do is Immortals plus like light cap. Really OP. Really, really good. What will you go, Senate or Despot? I mean, you can go Despot if you want, but normally you go Senate with any of the Elephant Nations. It's just what it is. Okay, so Romans are A tier or even S tier. I'll put them in S tier. Fuck it. Nah, probably. I mean, you can put them anywhere here. Uh, you can even debate that there can be top five nation, no problem. Um, so the fact that you can get free legionnaires or like the best infantry unit, you can get wealth income from your cities plus 10, which means it's pretty much a wealth rare. Um, you can get the free armor without any of the castles, which is insane. Like it's fucking insane. I think they're like the best nation H3 rush, best nation for sure. Free towers, so that means that you can counter the Mongols raids really easy. Cheaper units, so going Despot with them is really safe. Um, as the longer progresses, you get more infantry units or more legionnaires from your barracks. So they also have a really solid H4 attack. You know, it's just a really solid tip, bro. You can even go for territory victory if you find that you want to fuck around. Um, because of their extra because of the fort upgrades that for free. So yeah, it's just really good. I think when I was playing Elo Legends, I will never ban Romans, but now if I like play that again or any of the entire tournaments, I'll be even debating in switching Bantu for Romans, yeah, because Romans was like broken. Really good nation. Their early game is actually not bad either, because people will be like, oh, they're slow, but they're not really that slow because they get that cheap the free middle one. So that means they'll be also aging before you. So yeah, really good nation. You can even debate their S tier, but it's on you guys. Put in here or here. Russians is C tier for sure. Territory victory. Sniping despots or senators, which is a big deal actually. Um, the Cossacks with the light cap is like the best fucking light cap in the game. Um, and they're just really good. Also countering the H1 raids from Miracle or Bantu stuff like that. This is really good because of the free iteration. So yeah, they're really good for turtling, I'd say. But if they play against like Germans or any of these nations really that are like better than them eco wise, and the Russians are not like pushing the borders, taking map advantage or taking resources away from the opponent, I'll say they're kind of useless. But if you're able to push the borders, get map control, get take away from your opponent like resources, they can be really good. And the fact they have the light cap, it's really good because they can snipe despots and shit. So it's pretty much free plunder. So it's really good. I think it's a really solid tip. You can also like eat map control like in team games. I mean, getting away from topic, but they're also really good in team games. So yeah, I think Russians are really good. Also, really underrated sip, but really underrated sip. But yeah, it's really good. Spanish or B tier for sure. I think you can switch between these ones, but I think B tier is fine because they don't get an eco bonus, but they get the ruins early game. Safest nations to go science 2. Um, best H4 unit in the game, the Torcio, and they get the best heavy infantry in the game as well because they snipe calf. Against, I mean, you could say they're the best nation for playing against calf units or calf nations because their infantry is just broken. If they go 1-on-1 against the legionnaires will like destroy them, but this ones will destroy the Greek calf, any calf really. Um, and H4 they're just broken. They can get the 150 eco, no problem really. Normally you will go despot with them because sanity just makes no sense. And the fact that you can get early game science too, really safe. That means you will get guaranteed six plus runs, 680 plus. It's really good. And 3 upgrades on your scouts. So that means that you will never be like surprised with spies, or if you put them the scouts like lookouts in your border. You can also like use them like outposts, like the Iroquois scout. So yeah, they're really solid. They don't get any wealth income or knowledge income as well, like all these other B tier nations. So if you don't have any of those rares, it will become useless. But B tier I think is really good. And for Turks, which is the last one, I'd say B tier as well. Like Surge, I mean, like Dave did, just makes more sense. They get the Janissaries, which is also one of the best H4 units. They get the Siege, which is a big deal, like free Siege and better Siege. Because you will be saving so much metal, which means that you'll be able to spam a fort really fast, like the Germans kind of like the German power a little bit. Um, you'll be able to get also you get that cheaper mill, so that means they have a really good rush potential. And also you'll be getting the armor before everyone else really, because you know if you get the Monarch, the mill 4 upgrade will be like super cheap as well. So yeah, it's just really good. But the problem is that they don't have any wealth income as well or knowledge income. So they just become super weak if you don't have any of those rares. The villagers are like cheaper. They're also not. It's not bad. I mean, that means that you can add one or two more villagers to your scouting early game, which means that you have potentially a better ruin count early game. But it's not a big deal. It's not like the Indian that guarantees you a 200 eco or like Coda 200 eco like early game. The bills won't guarantee you a 200 eco early game, but it's definitely not a bad thing to have. I think the best thing you can do with them is rushing, honestly. The H2 rush, I think, is the strongest one with the Turks because they get the free siege, plus they also get the cheaper militia, so that means that you can replenish them like really fast. So yeah, guys. So this was my tier list opinion. Compared to the Dave's, as you guys can see, there's nations I agree, some nations I don't agree, but as I said, this opinion. After all, is everyone person's opinion. Um, and I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys under understand what I was trying to explain because it's a lot of information I guess. But yeah, guys. Tell me in the comments if you guys have any questions or if you guys disagree or agree on my nation picks. And catch you guys soon.